Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to read right now the Department of Justice Special Counsel Office's indictment. The press release, then we'll read the actual indictment. But it all points to everyone involved with the Steele dossier. There's even public record information we'll point to pertaining to why Sussman is not the only attorney at that law firm who will face charges and indictment. So hit subscribe to this channel right now. We're going to be talking a lot about the Durham probe every evening on these live streams. So make sure from 6:30 to about 7:55 p.m. I'll start the live streams every evening. I'll have a very special live stream later this evening at around 11:15 p.m. and a very special segment on the Stock Market Crash channel, so subscribe there. That will be below in the pinned comment. Ladies and gentlemen, to my super chat, I can't do this without you. Eric, H526, subscribe to his channel. He's one of the moderators. He has an Odyssey channel and a YouTube channel. JG, hello. Luke, hello as well. Everybody here, thank you so very much. Again, I can't do it without the super chat. Thank you so much, everybody, for your support. Grand jury indicts D.C. attorney with making false statements to FBI in 2016 regarding alleged communications between Trump Organization and Russia Bank. Okay, so the Alpha Bank fantasy, this is not really, the big issue here is the Steele dossier, okay? That's the big issue. So this is it's kind of like the gift that keeps on giving. And you're looking, ladies and gentlemen, I'll just, it alleged that at the beginning of July 2016, Sussman worked with the aforementioned U.S. technology executive, other cyber researchers, and a U.S.-based investigative firm to assemble the data and white papers that Sussman ultimately provided to the FBI and the media. So he worked with a bunch of people who fabricated a whole bunch of nonsense. Everybody, okay, we have the National Security Agency for a reason. They have a budget of well over $10 billion a year. I don't think we needed Sussman and the Steele and Christopher Steele and Fusion GPS and Perkins Co. to inform the United States intelligence community that Trump was working with Russia and communicating through servers. So that's number one. But you know what? I was going to read the press release, but there's not really much. Let's look at the actual. You look at the actual indictment that we were reading last night. And there's a part here, really interesting. During the meeting with the FBI, Sussman lied about the capacity in which he was providing the allegation to the FBI. Specifically, Sussman stated that he was not doing his work on the aforementioned allegations for any client, which led the FBI General Counsel to understand that Sussman was acting as a good citizen, merely passing along information, not as a paid advocate or political operative. So, this is, of course, absurd. We talked about this last night. Of course, the FBI knew that he worked with Clinton and the DNC. It was public record knowledge. Okay? You can go to a Washington Post article. A Washington Post article on October 24th, 2017. This was public record knowledge. Clinton campaign DNC paid for research. In the article itself, it talks about Mark E. Elias, a lawyer representing the Clinton campaign. The DNC retained Fusion GPS, a Washington firm, to conduct the research. And then you have Elias and his law firm Perkins Co. retained the company in April 2016 on behalf of the Clinton campaign and the DNC. Before that agreement, Fusion GPS's research into Trump was funded by an unknown Republican client during the... Well, that's not true at all. The Washington Free Beacon had nothing to do with Christopher Steele. They worked with Fusion GPS because Fusion GPS works with used to work with everybody in Washington. but they did not have anything to do with the dossier. This is an article, by the way, by 3 Washington Post reporters or journalists. Clinton campaign DNC paid for research that led to Russia dossier, October 24, 2017. So you have a lot of information just in terms of public record on how the latest indictment will lead to other indictments. Do you think maybe other attorneys at that law firm will be ensnared in the special counsel? You have a law firm and you have one attorney here who's all over Twitter for years talking about Trump's alleged ties to Russia. This is in 2017. The Hillary Clinton campaign, the Democratic National Committee, helped fund research that resulted in a now famous dossier containing allegations about President Trump's connections to Russia and possible coordination between his campaign and the Kremlin. Well, why didn't the U.S. intelligence community have any information on this? Oh, that's right, because it never happened. That's why. It never happened. None of this ever happened. It was completely fabricated. Sussman's lie was material because, among other reasons, Sussman's false statement misled FBI General Counsel and other FBI personnel concerning the political nature of his work and deprived the Bureau of information that might have permitted it more fully to access and uncover the origins of relevant data and technical analysis, including the identities and motivations of Sussman's clients. This, of course, even though Durham is playing a very interesting game, of course the Bureau knew. Of course they knew. They were all in on it. Of course they knew. But they're not going to admit this. Okay? They're not going to admit this. And so they're not going to admit they were part of everything. They're not going to admit that they were part of setting up and framing Trump. The way that Democrats and media and loyalists within the intel community set up and frame Trump is they accept the most absurd allegations as legitimate reasons to investigate. Whereas if you have literally from Peter Strzok, "We'll stop Trump," or an email from Hunter's laptop stating, "How can you use your influence on behalf of the company?" Media and Democrats say you can't prove anything, it's completely baseless, and you need categorical, absolute proof, a direct line between any accusation against Hunter or Joe or Madam Secretary, a direct line in terms of logic. You need a categorical, absolute statement of fact before you even allege that anyone on the Democratic side engaged in, foul play or criminal behavior. So that's the issue we're facing right now. And the indictment is interesting because it kind of gives a free pass to certain people at the FBI and then puts a lot of the attorney at this law firm, he has to now not only battle the reality that everyone he worked with at the Bureau knew what he was doing and why he was doing it, but he also needs to explain that he wasn't the only person at his law firm doing this. There were other people who were far better known. Those people might not have been working directly with the FBI. But if Sussman says, "Hey, you know what? I was told not to tell the Bureau who my client was because of protocol at the law firm." Well, then who who devised this protocol? Okay, well, it's this attorney, that attorney. So, I mean, this whole thing is going to it can collapse very quickly. And when I say very quickly, I mean like within a year and a half, 2 years. It took 4 years for them to set up this absurd fantasy hoax. So it's going to take some time. It's going to take some time. You look, ladies and gentlemen, and let's continue. Had the FBI uncovered the origins of relevant data and analysis, meaning who he worked for, and as alleged below, it might have learned, among other things, that in compiling and analyzing Russia Bank allegations, Tech Executive 1 had exploited his access to non-public data at multiple internet companies to conduct opposition research concerning Trump. So this law firm worked with people who possibly or did break the law, utilizing confidential or non-public data. Kind of reminds you of Mary Trump. In furtherance of these efforts, Tech Executive 1 had enlisted and continued to enlist the assistance of researchers at a U.S.-based university who were receiving and analyzing internet data in connection with a pending federal government cybersecurity research contract. So you have this attorney now bringing into the Durham probe everyone at a university who is getting a government grant, okay, to conduct cybersecurity research, and he's using their work to set up and frame Trump. Sussman, Tech Executive 1, and Law Firm 1, which is Perkins Co. Tech Executive 1, I'm not 100% sure, could be linked to Fusion GPS. And we're continuing to coordinate with representatives and agents of the Clinton campaign with regard to the data and written material that Sussman gave to the FBI and the media. The media ran with this story. The media just ran with this story, and there was no reason to run with the story. Okay? So you have a situation where this is being fabricated. The whole thing is just fabricated. A conjured up, absurd fantasy. The fever dreams of Democrats. So the FBI investigations of these allegations nevertheless concluded there was insufficient evidence to support allegations of secret communication channel with Russia Bank. At the end of the day, the Mueller probe and the Bureau found no evidence, because you know what? There's something called, hundreds of billions of dollars in U.S.-Russia trade and business. Okay? So you're allowed to work, you're allowed to do business with Russia. I know this is a big shock to Democrats. U.S.-Russia trade. So $34 billion in 2019. U.S. goods and services trade with Russia totaled an estimated $34 billion, $34.9 billion. Okay? So it's probably more than that. But anyway, it's a lot of money. Okay? They might not be our top trading partner, but it's still a lot of money. $34.9 billion. Okay? That's a lot of transactions. That equals to a great deal of communication between servers and companies and computers. They think that it's the Cold War and this is the Soviet Union. They turned our country into a paranoid, hysterical state. And we see this now with other issues. The neuroses of Democrats have plunged this country into oblivion. And it's neuroses. It's not just like concern for national security, because they have no concern for national. They don't even care about the Afghanistan debacle. They obsess over Trump, and they want to justify their hysterical, apoplectic reaction to things. And David, hello. In particular, and among other things, the FBI's investigation revealed that the email server at issue was not owned or operated by the Trump organization, but rather had been administered by a mass marketing email company that sent advertisements for Trump hotels and hundreds of other clients. So they didn't even, the server in question was not even part of, he had nothing to do with, do you know how many, articles were written about the Alpha Bank server? Had nothing to do with Trump. But they ran with it. They lied through their teeth. And they say Trump lies so much. Nobody on the planet has lied more than media and Democrats. Trump is like a saint compared to media and Democrats. He told the truth about Alpha Bank. He told the truth about Trump Russia. He told the truth about Zelensky. He never pressured anyone. That's why, you have this push for they use words like misinformation. Misinformation is a subjective term, okay? They don't use the words factually false. They don't say, here's a law, so Klobuchar has this fantastic law now. They don't say anything that's categorically false, because they rely on consensus and confidence of people they trust pertaining to any issue from Trump Russia to a global health crisis. You'll never get Democrats you'll never get any of these people who know exactly what's good for you to say categorically, without a shadow of a doubt, this is what needs to happen. They'll say, well, the risk-reward ratio we've calculated should apply to you. And we, based on a consensus of experts we trust, have come to this categorical conclusion, which is, of course, based on their belief in the opinion of a whole lot of people. So this is the world we live in. It's all smoke and mirrors, and it's all, predicated on the sensibilities. These people utilize the sensibilities of the establishment to try and dictate reality. Luke St. Martin, hello. J-Spot, hello. I Caroline, hello. Kevin, hello. John, Kathy, hello. These people utilize the sensibilities of morally superior liberal Democrats to really just plunge the country into one hysterical obsession over another. There's very little difference in how Democrats reacted to the global health crisis compared to how they reacted to Trump Russia. It was all hysterical, apoplectic. There was no reason or logic. They plunged the country into zero economic activity. Now we're going to have a stock market crash. This morning I did a segment. The market was down 400 points. And then Mitch McConnell, I saved the stock market, Mitch McConnell says, okay, I have a debt ceiling, a deal. I'm working on my Christopher Walken, JG. I can't do it. No, I can't do it. I'm not even close to it, but it's just the beginning of what could be something along the lines of Christopher Walken. But anyway, but I got my McConnell down. And Mitch McConnell has a debt ceiling deal with them. And then the market goes from 400 down to 100 up, and it's the Atlanta Fed, you heard it here first, okay? We've had negative GDP growth for the second quarter in a row, and there are some economists that I watch or listen to, and this is interesting, very interesting. Listen to this. This is so interesting, you have no idea how interesting this is. You just wait. Federal Reserve Bank of Atlanta. Okay? Latest estimate, 1.3% GDP, October 5th, 2021. The GDP model now estimate for real GDP growth, seasonally adjusted annual rate in the third quarter of 2021 is 1.3%. That's terrible. Okay, on October 5th, down from 2.3% on October 1st. So that's not a rebound. That's barely like, oh my God, like maybe you were allowed to work and things aren't really good at all. After recent releases from the U.S. Bureau of Economic Analysis, the U.S. Consensus Bureau, and the Institute for Supply Management, the nowcasts of third quarter real personal consumption expenditures growth and third quarter real private real quarter and third quarter real gross private domestic investment growth decreased from 1.4% and 12.9% respectively to 1.1% and 10.5%. But wait, there's more. This is what's really bad. Respectively, while the nowcast of the contribution of the change in real net exports to third quarter, real GDP growth decreased from negative 1.27 percentage points year over year to negative 1.7 percentage point. Okay, we've actually had 2 quarters. No, not year over year, 2 quarters of negative growth. Okay? There's so -1. Real final sales could be early sign of recession. This is what, so I'm saying if I'm reading this anyway. Randall Moore. Thank you, Randall Moore. Greatly appreciated. Thank you for starting it off, Randall. Thank you so very, very, very much. Randall Moore, thank you. Thank you, Randall. Greatly appreciated, Randall. Thank you for watching. I hope all is well. So, if I'm reading this right, so real final sales, hold on one second. I'm not reading this right. If you look, though, the GDP is negative 1.57%. Negative 1. It has decreased. Decreased negative 1.57 percentage points. So I think I'm reading this wrong and adding things that I shouldn't be adding. But the GDP here, latest estimate is 1.3%, October 5th, 2021. Okay, so anyway, the economy is not doing well, and it's in for a market crash. As Atlanta Fed research explores link between poor health, earning inequality. Yeah, there's a link. There's a definite link that everyone knew. So, oh my God, there's no template for pandemic economic recovery. So Atlanta Fed economists look to World War II. No, why would that? Oh my God. Anyway, this is an economist on Twitter. If you look deeper, Atlanta Fed is now at negative 1% for Q3 real final sales. Could be early recession signs. So forget what I said about a recession. That wasn't. I don't think I was referring to 2 quarters of negative growth. I was just referring to the GDP that was positive was actually revised downwards even further. So that I was wrong what I said. All the past 7 followed an oil shock, which we have. So this is not good. Randall Moore, thank you. We're looking at a devastating economic catastrophe or crisis from a cataclysmic stock market crash. So here, now cast for real final sales of domestic product. The chart just keeps going down. Q3 is negative 1.0029. And this was, we had, obviously, it was negative 30 second quarter of 2020. Then it went up to 30 in Q3 of 2020. Then down to 4.7631 to Q4 of 2020. And then up to 9 Q1. And then Q2 6.9. And then now Q3 negative 1. And we'll get you a definition of this economic indicator. Final sale of domestic product. GDP less change in private inventory. It is also equal to the sum of personal consumption expenditures, gross private fixed investment, government consumption, and gross investment, and net exports of goods and services. So another indicator of how the economy is doing, which is it's going into the pooper. It's going into the toilet. Okay? Real final sales of domestic product, taking into account personal consumption, private fixed investment, gross government consumption, expenditures, gross investment, and net export of goods and services, which they're all anchored outside. They're all anchored outside of Long Beach and ports in China. It's all so the real final sales of domestic product has now tanked since the first time. Since the beginning of 2020, it hasn't been this low. Okay, this is actually pretty interesting. Pretty interesting. I'm not sure if I understand everything completely, but I kind of pretty much understand the concept. Pretty interesting. Anyway, the point is, it's a horrible, situation. Roger Rabbit, hello. Roger Rabbit, hello. Meet John Doe, thank you. Meet John Doe, thank you so very, very much. Hippie Chick, hello. Funboy LX. There's no template for better double down on what hasn't been working. Yeah, exactly. Funboy LX, yes. Funboy LX, yes. Thank you, Funboy LX. Thank you. They don't look. It's all a matter of. It's all a matter of what they feel is right, based on who they trust. So if a geologist that I trust tells me to jump off a cliff with a Superman cape, well, I trust the geologist because he votes for mashed potato brains. Bye, Dad. It's important to remember the final sale, the final sales to domestic purchasers is a measure of how many domestically produced goods are sold each quarter. Okay, so real final sales. So this is interesting. Real final sales of domestic product. We're now in negative territory for real final sales of domestic. Real final sales of domestic product. We're now in negative territory. Okay? I told you this would be an exciting episode. I told you you wouldn't want to miss this Durham probe episode that veered into real final sales of domestic product. And you can look at the charts since 1930, and we've taken a pretty substantial dip in the past year. So, anyway, if there's another quarter of negative, there's another quarter where we decrease in GDP. So it's not negative GDP, but we are decreasing in GDP, which is not good. So, the Wall Street Journal. A better gauge, hold on one second. A better gauge of underlying demand is real final sales of domestic product, which strips out the effect of inventory buildup. It essentially measures how much Americans made stuff, which we don't do that. Well, we do, but Americans made stuff people and companies bought, whether here or abroad. Okay, so this is really, really interesting. And it's now in negative territory. We're now in negative territory in terms of we're in -1 in terms of real -1% in terms of real final sales of domestic product. The you know what is going to hit the fan. The fanny. Okay. Trying to tell everybody. Anyway, getting back to the Durham probe. You have a situation where everyone involved didn't realize they didn't realize people would be indicted for setting up, and they thought it was their right. They thought it was just like literally their God-given right. I find it amusing. It was. They thought it was their God-given right, to just set up and frame Trump. See, if you hear like it would be the equivalent of hearing a rumor. It would like hearing a rumor of somebody, like, oh well, Bob was at the movies with a woman, and you realize, okay, Bob was at the movies with his grandmother. So yes, he's in the movies with a woman, but it's like not with somebody that he's cheating on Mary with. So again, it's all like this. What they have now is they've been relegated to reading books of people who wanted to just cash out and make money working, like people who worked with Trump, like this one staffer who has a book out now. She wants to be accepted in society, or the society that she feels is important. Okay, the DC, New York, whatever establishment. LA, DC, New York establishment. Like, there are people like who want to be surrounded by individuals who despise Trump. I don't. That's not amusing to me. I would rather be with people who don't care about politics or people who just, like Trump or can't stand Biden or just simply like Biden but don't care about politics and don't really like Trump but don't care about politics. Like, I don't want to be, I don't need to be, like, I don't need to be with anyone too, with too much allegiance to any political viewpoint. It just, if you have an opinion on politics, great. If you have an opinion on sports, fantastic. If you have an opinion on economics, great. If you have an opinion on, I don't know, the Roman Empire, let's talk about it. But it's like these ideologues, people who were never ideologues about anything have become ideologues. So getting back to the staffer, these staffers now, they worked with Trump. And so then now it's like this big business where Democrats want people who have turned on Trump because they've seen the light. They've seen the light. It's this thing with Donald J. Trump and half the country or close to half the country. It is a very, very unhealthy, neurotic, sad and pathetic, like, they have no concept of history, recent history. They don't judge Trump in the manner they judge themselves. They use Trump as a foil to say, deflect from like their actual issues and problems and criminal wrongdoing. It's pretty amazing. Freedom Autopsy Report. Let's talk about demographic. From my perspective, freedom. The demographics are working against Democrats. President Trump got a greater percentage of the non-white vote than any candidate or president in 60 years. Or sorry, any Republican candidate in 60 years. So, like, if anything, they're on the ropes, I would say. Freedom Autopsy, thank you. Stephen Butler. Stephen, love you, H.A. Can you say apoplectic in a sentence along with an imitation of turtles saying they touch themselves in ecstasy? When I introduce my debt ceiling proposal, they were touching themselves in ecstasy in the most apoplectic manner. And it was so amusing to watch. I was seeing Eric Swalwell. He's in the house, but I unfortunately got to see him also. But seeing Chuck Schumer and Bob Menendez, of all people, in the most apoplectic celebratory celebration, I just can't tell you. And then I did this segment. I'm like, stock market crashing, stock market crashing. And then Mitch McConnell's like, I'm here to save the day. Here I come to save the day. And then the stock market gets up. I'm like, it's crashing. You see? I told you. You see? And then I'm looking, well, what the? It's up. Thank God. Good. Very fantastic. I don't want that. Who wants the stock market to crash, even though it's going to crash? But whatever. So, if you have money if you're about to retire, you have no business being in the market. If you're about to retire, you have no business being in the market. JG, thank you. Hi, Caroline. JG, you know what I've done because of you, JG? I'm listening now every day to Christopher Walken. And I'm trying. It's so difficult. Your father and I. No, I can't do it. For people like your father and I. No, I can't do it. I'm trying. DVD. HA, just want to say thank you, DVD. Thank you so very much. Thank you. Thank you so very, very much. Thank you, Divvy D. Thank you. I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Beautiful name, Divvy D. Thank you so very, very much. Thank you. Hold on. Let's see if we can do this real time. Okay, hold on one second. Let's see if we can do this real time. Now I'm going a little bit nuts. Because Christopher Walken has a fantastic voice. Not that I'm a voiceover, I've never worked in that field, but okay. Okay, so hold on one second. Let's see. Oh, Lord. It'll be copyrighted, so I can't. Dang it. Okay, well, we'll do it another time somehow. Anyway, I just go back to old Liable and Turtle, Richard Magano. And as always, Nancy Pelosi, Katharine Hepburn, the modern day Katharine Hepburn. So let's see. So you have, let's just read this. The defendant, at all times relevant to this indictment, Sussman was employed at a law firm. Previously, Sussman was employed at Department of Justice in various capacities. In his work, Sussman became familiar with U.S. criminal laws, apparently not all of them. In his work, Sussman represented numerous clients, cybersecurity, privacy. Sussman represented in connection with the hacking of in April, in or about April 2016, the Democratic National Committee retained Sussman to represent it in connection with the hacking of its email server. Well, why didn't they give the servers to James Comey? Oh, that's right. Because that would actually allow the FBI to decipher what happened, so they don't want that. Anywhere around the same time, Sussman also advised the Clinton campaign in connection with cybersecurity issues. They were allegedly hacked by everybody, so that's right. JG, that's right. Tech Executive 1 was at all times relevant to this indictment, an executive of a particular internet company. Internet Company 1 in a van down by the river, which offers various internet-related services and products, including domain name system resolution services to its customers. Gosh, I think that's a great company to use. Not. By virtue of his position at Internet Company 1 and other companies, Tech Executive 1 maintained direct or indirect access to and the ability to provide other access to large amounts of internet and cybersecurity data. In or about February 2015, Tech Executive 1 retained Sussman as his lawyer in connection with a matter involving an agency of the U.S. government. Sussman also frequently served as outside counsel to Internet Company 1. Oh! Gosh, very likely it's, whatchamacallit, that's right, could be, I don't know, could be CrowdStrike. Oh, CrowdStrike, fantastic company. That's right. Oh, and who were they paid by? Oh, that's right, they were paid by the DNC. Could there be conflicts of interest? Absolutely not. They were doing it out of the goodness of their own heart. They actually got a pristine, they gave the U.S. government copies where even Vice and all of these, they're like, well, they gave them pristine copies. How do you know? It's like, would you trust the Trump organization if they give, these are the best server copies ever? My Trump has gotten better. It has gotten better. At times relevant, Originator 1. Oh, now there's Originator 1. Okay, hold on one second. By it, the Russian bank. Okay, so basically, he's just slowly, and Durham is slowly closing in on anyone associated with the Steele dossier, with CrowdStrike, with Fusion GPS, all the wonderful, all the actors in this, theatrical performance called Trump Russia. And then you get these absurd defenses. Well, of course, you can have partisan actors sending the government accurate information. Well, it wasn't accurate information, genius. None of it was used to indict anybody. In fact, it was a marketing company that ran the server. So then why would you? Because their defense now is like, this is really bizarre. Every time anyone associated with setting up Trump gets indicted, they're like, this is really bizarre. Meanwhile, George Papadopoulos had nothing to do with, Michael Flynn had nothing to do with, none of these, Paul Manafort had nothing to do with colluding with Russia. But they, oh my God, they were so happy, touching themselves in ecstasy over every single indictment. And when the people who were involved in indicting everyone around Trump because they couldn't get Trump, because they fabricated an absurd Trump-Russia myth that you would have to be an imbecile to believe. When these people get indicted, they're like, this is so bizarre. This is so bizarre. The New York Times came out with a report that says that if you can believe this, they didn't even trust the information they were giving to our government about Trump. They didn't even trust the information. You mean to tell me that they were actually passing information to media and to the government they didn't believe? But that would mean that they were setting up and framing Trump because they despise him, and not for the good of the country, which, by the way, there are laws against that. Oh! That means they were breaking laws. That's impossible, though. And then you have these, this is a bizarre indictment. Everything that happens, this really stretches the legal envelope of what's even allowed under the law. No problem. These people have no problem. They're going to totally win their case. Just like with Mary Trump. Mary Trump, she's like, yeah, they say that I smuggled documents. Are you kidding me? And then the CNN article said she smuggled documents. So it's like, I'm not stopping anybody. Okay, here's another issue also. Ladies and gentlemen, okay? Everybody here, okay? I have a small, relatively small channel, okay? As you can see, no hands, Ma. There's no hands here. Very rarely do I delete comments, and if I do, sometimes I make cataclysmic mistakes, like with Eric yesterday. I pressed the wrong button. Okay, so I'm not deleting any comments. There is an algorithm that YouTube has with words that are banned. If you said something, if you use a word that's banned, sorry, that's not I didn't pick a different word. God, it's not that difficult. If you want to say something like, don't say the word for a person losing his life. Say a person losing his life. Don't say the word for, I don't know. I don't know what. Any contentious topic, don't address the actual word. It's not my fault. There's so many people wait a second now. Wait a second. H.A. Badman. He's just like Amy Klobuchar. He's banning my speech. I'm not banning anyone's speech. Just try to send. No, not everybody else gets through. This is not true. So I'm not doing anything. See here, Look, mouse here. See? Tammy, hello. Frankenstein. So please, just believe me. There is a algorithm I have nothing to do with. And it gets tighter every single day. Or it gets more, difficult to communicate. So, and then also there's some like weird people, for some reason, whatever it is, people within their own computer, if they have a certain, like an older Windows system, I don't know. There's so many other factors too. So, Frankenstein. So to the message that I got, believe me, I'm not stopping you. I am not stopping you. Is one of my wonderful Patreons. I would not be stopping a Patreon, believe me. But thank you, though. I appreciate it. I'm not stopping anybody. I'm stopping only myself. The only person I'm stopping and trying to, stifle is myself. Frankenstein! Someday I'd like to hear you channel your inner gonzo. Rhymes with Schmunter as Stumpson. That guy. Can I tell you, Schmunter S. Stumpson was awesome. He was awesome. He would be viewed as a far-right provocateur today. Anyone good would be a provocateur. Hunter S. Thompson, Christopher Hitchens, George Orwell, would be viewed as a provocateur. There's this English author that is talking about how the establishment wants to run your life and prevent you from communicating your inner thoughts and prevent and stop, and wants to stop you from expressing yourself and wants you to believe whatever they believe. Can you believe this? Yeah, his name is George Orwell. Far-right provocateur. Frankenstein, thank you. See, there you go. J-Spot, for a laugh, watch, can someone translate? Okay, hold on one second. Because like, right now, they're, hold on one second. Oh. Oh, J-Spot, yes. Hold on, let's see if we can. Can I hear this? Hold on.
1920 in that area, they went from state to state convincing people that they allowed them to put 20,000 gallons of gasoline under the ground. They didn't want them around.
Hold on, let's get Biden. Is that what? Hold on, Biden is saying something about inflation. So he dismisses concerns of inflation, which is running rampant. When the stock market is about to crash, because it is, when CNN's like, don't worry about the crash. Don't worry about the crash. Those are the far-right provocateurs. Hold on one second. Let's see here.
Expected, and they're expected to be temporary. The reality is you can't flip the global economic light back on.
Hold on one second. Let's listen to Mashed Potato and his endless wisdom.
The reality is you can't flip the global economic light back on.
I was about to say switch.
And not expect this to happen. As demand returns, there's going to be global supply chain challenges. We've seen that in semiconductors, which are used.
Yeah, and who caused all of this?
In automobiles. That global shortage has slowed vehicle production, creating a temporary spike in car prices. That's a real challenge. My administration is doing everything we can to address it.
No, you're not. You're not even, aside from this talk, you've done nothing to address it.
When you build a charging station, it's like back in the day when my grandpa worked for the American Oil Company back in the turn of in the 1920 in that area. They went from state to state convincing people that they allowed them to put 20,000 gallons of gasoline under the ground. They didn't want them around.
Wow. Jean-Louis, nothing I say gets through except blah, blah, blah. They know me. Jean-Louis, you know what? Jean-Louis, here's the thing. I am a part of, like, there are certain things that obviously, like, I can't talk about, just because it's this is the issue with the free speech issue. I understand how, like, I have to balance a healthy balance between talking about the things I want and having everyone talk about the things that they want, while at the same time not getting, repercussions from YouTube because, I'm veering off, or we're veering off into or someone's veering off into a topic that we're not allowed to talk about. So, and oftentimes I might simply just disagree also. But it's not like, my goal is to grow and to be able to communicate my viewpoint, which 90% of the time, 95% of the time I do. 5% is still a lot, where I have to watch what I say, or people have to watch what they say. But 90 to 95% of the time, I'm always explaining my viewpoints, my thoughts, and I'm very thankful for this platform. That being said, it's like, if YouTube does make it difficult for people in the super chat or in the chat to talk about things, this is something that unfortunately I have to live with. We all have to live with. It's not like it's not like I'm calling this the brass at YouTube and saying, yeah, I got my Durham probe live stream tonight. Make sure we can't talk about anything on the super chat. It makes me feel so good. But I'm trying my best, everybody. So, Indy! Sorry I'm late, Coach. Hello, everyone. Indy Wood! So, who's Milton? Thank you. Indy Wood! Thank you so very, very much. Indy, how are you? I hope all is well. Wayne, thank you. I hope all is well, Indy. Thank you so very, very much. There's so much to talk about, like, Indy, thank you. Like, you hear this, the Klobuchar bill, so there's some, okay, so wait. No, there was another bill that, okay. The Atlantic, the Manchin Klobuchar bill could save democracy. It's like, democracy has been redefined as whatever is good for the Democratic Party now. It has nothing to do with democracy. This is a Lincoln Project tactic. This is a tactic of Bush Republicans. If you're not with us, you're with the enemy. So this is what they've done, but nobody even buys it. If passed, the freedom, advanced election. Yeah, invasion safety provision. Yeah, right. Oh, well, God, that's another story. Basically, anything the Atlantic writes about, you could pretty much say the opposite is true in many ways. So, but here, if you type in Biden's approval is, Biden drops to 38% approval. 38% approval in new national poll. I think President Trump at this point had a better approval rating. %38 approval. Unbelievable. So, majority question in the poll say Biden administration not competent in running government. That's pretty obvious. 38%. Wow. And that's with all of media. Like if you imagine if you had media treat Biden the way they treated Trump, it would be at 28%. And that's with all of media. All of media. Could you imagine if media was if we had a media that just treated all politicians in the same hysterical, apoplectic manner? It'd be totally different. It would be totally different. But you don't. I mean, you don't get that. %38 approval. And he hasn't even finished this for like a full year. Could you imagine? It's only going to get worse, too. I mean, this is what happens when you obsess over Trump's personality. Like I told you, it's not going to matter. None of this will matter. Indy Wood, thank you. Born to raise hogs, thank you. Born to raise hogs. Conrad, born to raise hogs. I can't thank you enough. Born to raise hogs, thank you very, very, very much. Thank you as always. Conrad, I guess I do have an ego. I want to hear my name shouted out. Was my last super chat going to give you grief you don't need? Oh, no. I was just trying to make you laugh. No, it was great. Actually, I didn't see. Conrad, what was your last super chat? Let's see. Oh, yeah. Oh, I didn't see that, actually. I apologize. And that's not like a ploy for me to get more super chat. It's like, oh, I didn't see that. Oh, now I see it. No. Can I thank you now for the secret password you gave me for all my chats? Was it pineapple? Oh, no. I said pineapple. It's the secret code word. The secret password. Conrad, I apologize. Conrad. I didn't see the Shmoosh Biden. Luke St. Martin. Conrad, I did not see the prior one. Born to raise hogs. Thank you so very much. All right, now let's start. Okay, so all right, so thank you, sir. Thank you. I apologize. It's not me. It wasn't me, like the song. No, Biden is not trying you to force Americans to eat less red meat. Basically, all of media is just media exists to reinforce Democratic Party nonsense. So to protect it when it is obviously wrong, and to try to communicate its talking points whenever they think they're right. Republican members of Congress, Fox News personalities, and other prominent right-wing figures are falsely claiming that President Joe Biden is trying to force Americans to eat far less red meat. Joe Biden's climate plan. Can I tell you something? When the market crashes, people are going to have a dislike for the word climate change. I'm telling you, they're going to be like, "Rah!" Because it's going to be because 80%, we still have, they're not going to, like the average person isn't going to say, gosh, we need to develop, alternative energy. They're going to say, okay, we live with 80+ % fossil fuels. We got to deal with it now. You've tanked the global economy, U.S. economy, because experts told you to stop economic activity. But here, Joe Biden's climate plan includes cutting 90% of red meat from our diets by 2030. Really? They want to limit, okay, no. So, and then in particular, on Greg Abbott, so, facts first. Here's the truth. Well, okay. Let's see, the truth that CNN calls it. CNN, the publication and media conglomerate that usually wrong on most things, but here, Biden has not proposed any limit on Americans' red meat consumption. In fact, he has not proposed any limit on Americans' consumption of any food. The false claim about Biden's trying to restrict people to 4 pounds of red meat per year appears to have originated with a deceptive Thursday article by the British tabloid The Daily Mail. The article baselessly connected Biden's climate proposal to an academic paper from 2020 that is not about Biden and says nothing about the government. Let's look at the article. Okay. So an academic finding that greenhouse gas emissions would be reduced if Americans hypothetically ate 90% less beef does not mean the president is going to force Americans to eat 90% less beef. Yeah, we get that, CNN. The point is, he's not forcing anyone to do anything. His economic policies will lead people to that eventual objective or that reality. This is so hilarious. CNN is completely indignant when they're faced with the same type of journalism that they engage in. And by the way, this is even more accurate because the Daily Mail cited academic research that says this is what Biden's plan is going to result in. Less meat. Okay? Less beef. Where's the beef? Remember the commercial, where's the beef? That's Biden's economy. Where's the beef? Where's the beef? They won't be happy until everyone is driving a Prius and eating celery. Then they'll be happy. And watching government-approved Facebook ads. Then they'll be very, very happy. This is to state an academic finding that greenhouse gas emissions would be reduced if Americans hypothetically ate 90% less beef does not mean the president is going to force Americans to eat 90% less beef. There is no link between the paper's hypotheticals and bisexual policies. Yes, there is. The paper talks about that. There's definitely a link. You don't like the link because it shows that we would be eating less meat because you're embarrassed about that, CNN. So there you go. So, Biden's America, less beef. Biden's America, where's the beef? Washington Post, Biden's. Wait, you remember the no, there wasn't a demon. Remember that? No demon. Biden. You think that's like a joke. Fact check. Dun, 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 dun. Fact check. A demon was not president in Biden's April 28th. Fact check. A demon, an evil spirit, wasn't present at Biden's April 28th. Wasn't present. Snopes, did a demon appear at Biden's speech? Like, the fact that they're desperately trying to debunk everything just shows how, like, sad they are. Eric, hello. No, there wasn't a demon. Kayvon has a... This is great. Kayvon Comedy is awesome. Subscribe to Kayvon Comedy. He's fantastic. He's hilarious. Biden calls demon President Harris. Kayvon shows what media ignores. Man. This is so funny. This is so hilarious. Then he wrote, I don't care if you think I'm Satan reincarnated. Biden says no excuse. What is Biden said this? He admitted it. Wow. Hold on one second.
The fact is, you can't look at that television and say,
Hold on one second.
I don't care if you think I'm Satan reincarnated.
Oh, he admitted it. What's all this talk about demons and Satan with Biden? God.
I don't care if you think I'm Satan reincarnated. The fact is...
Not many people were laughing, by the way. And they're like...
If you think I'm Satan I don't care if you think I'm Satan reincarnated.
Okay. Whatever you say, buddy. Scott, hello. Wow. Come on, man. Hey, come on, man. Come on, Satan, man. You know the deal, Satan, man. You know the deal. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very much. I will be back at around 11 p.m. or so. Be here at 11 p.m., people. Thanks so very much. Eric, Luke, Born to Raise Hogs, Indy, everybody here. Thank you so much for your support and your generosity and everything. Thanks, everybody. Be here at 11. We'll talk about some wonderful, wonderful things pertaining to the stock market, most likely, and Taiwan. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. To my super chat, thank you. Eric and Luke, thank you. Indy, Born to Raise Hogs, everybody here. Conrad, everybody here. Sundboell X, everybody here. Thank you so very much. JG, as always,